Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are talking about the topic that is cities creation. In this, basically, we are talking about the 20% error, basically, that is from education side. So, one of the person told that, यार ये ना 1% one story basically I will tell you. ये बहन बहुत पैसे बचा रहा है. He basically literally saves the money. He basically never do the expense. Can we do something basically? Then basically the cheater team basically got activated basically. They basically passed the case to the cheater team basically. Then the cheater team basically told that basically we will do one thing, we will do something basically that he will literally do the expense basically, or basically if he is not doing the expense, then basically we will attack his bank account basically. Then basically the cheater team basically got activated. Like this basically the cheater team basically started doing activities that basically how basically we can attack his bank, how basically we can do this activity, how basically we can take money from him. Like this basically each and everything basically got activated basically. So one of the person told that basically the government basically, for example, these 200 people basically are uh, uh, if by chance basically the 200 people basically are literally giving the problem to the government basically, and government knows that basically these 200 people basically are there basically, who are basically we this 200 people basically we have given the problem basically. So these people also the government groups also basically tracks them basically, whatever activities they are doing, whatever things basically they are doing in the laptops, whatever things basically they are doing the mobiles. Literally they basically watch what actually he is doing. For that basically they creates the team member also basically. For example, 100 people basically they are sitting at the some Mumbai office, that is assume that basically it's in Andheri, and then basically they literally watch basically what actually he is doing, how he is basically doing, where basically he is going, to whom basically is meeting, how basically he is talking to the how many talk basically he has done from the mobile, how many calls basically he has done. Like this basically they create the data science project basically. The people basically are dying and they are basically creating data science project basically. This is government actually, this is system basically, this is system basically. Because these 200 people basically got converted to disease, that means the government is only basically responsible for that. Previous basically government was like not like this basically. Nowadays basically government are like this basically. People says that also basically. Then one of the person told that basically Congress government are not like this basically. When the Congress government was there, that time basically I was getting the job, I was getting everything basically. Then the BJP government came, na basically that time basically we basically got the problem basically. Then one of the BJP person told that, yeah, what we can do basically, tell yeah basically. We have passed the 200 people data to the companies. If companies are not doing, then basically what we can do. That means you can't, if you can't control the companies, then basically how you can control the country basically. And after that basically controlling the countries basically, that okay, then basically how you are handling the world basically, how basically you are representing the world basically in front of the world basically. One question basically the person asked the, if you can't control the companies basically, then how you can control the public basically. If you can't control the public, then basically how you will handle the entire world basically. So basically one of the person basically raised this question also basically. If you can't handle these 200 people basically, your problem, this people's problem basically, then how basically you can handle the country basically, yeah. At least you are supposed to solve the problem basically, so that basically if might have solved the problem, then the disease basically might not have generated, then the disease basically might not have generated basically. But the disease has generated, and then basically it has converted into 50 crore people died basically. 50 crore people has already died na basically. Who will be going to give the answer basically? For that people assume that basically this is basically not 50 crore people basically might not be dying basically. If 50 crore people will die, then basically literally the third world war will start basically. But third world war has started basically. That means 50 crore people has not died basically. 50 crore people has not died basically. Assume basically, just taking as an example basically. Assume that basically 200 disease, 200 people basically got disease, and in this basically 50 crore people died basically. So 50 crore basically was not died basically. That was actually murder basically done by the system basically. That was the Indian system basically. That was system equal to Indian government, Indian police, Indian military, Indian Air Force, Indian doctor, Indian software company, Indian businessman, Indian public. Then one of the example, one of the few people basically given few example. अरे यार बेंगलुरु में assume that these 200 people basically got the error, they are from software industry. Yeah, in Bangalore basically there are lots of software companies, there are small software companies, big software companies. There was no place for these 200 people basically. There was no place basically. Yeah. Then one of the person told that in Mumbai basically the people basically there are more than 1 to 2 lakh people basically who are basically earning more than 100 crore per month basically. They can't give this 200 people job basically. They also basically told that basically let them die basically, yeah, what we are doing, let them die basically. Like this basically the government told that basically let them die basically, 200 people, let them die basically, let them die basically. 200 people basically told that basically okay, basically. Few people basically assume that basically few people don't done basically suicide, few people basically literally died due to they were not able to struggle basically, they were not able to do the struggle. According to that basically they died in the disease also basically. Like these people also basically died. Like this government told that basically we have solved the problem. 200 people basically died basically. Then basically people basically told that basically after 200 people died, they have done the jashan basically. Do you know how basically they have done the jashan? Like one person basically told that basically uh, have you purchased this item basically? Then he told that no basically I have not purchased here basically. No, you have purchased basically, this account is showing basically. He was basically simple person basically. He given the money basically and told that basically okay basically I have not purchased yes basically. So he basically was reputed person basically. He basically given the money and told that basically yes okay basically take the money. Like this basically they loots them, they basically literally takes the money from lots of people basically, and they say that basically okay basically we are giving this money. Like this basically from this loot money basically they do the jashan basically. And few people basically are honest also basically. They basically never takes 1 rupees also basically. They comes from the cycle. They basically if they basically are little bit rich then basically they comes from the scooter. They basically come sometime basically from the bus basically. That type of people also basically are there basically. The reason they know that basically the system also know that basically that you have to keep this type of people also basically. Otherwise the world will end basically. If you are doing this type of problems to the people basically the world will end basically. Then few people told that basically yeah literally basically if we can pass this case to the other than country basically, then the other than country will tell that basically yeah they don't have money basically, then how basically we can take them to our country basically. They are more professional than Indian company, Indian government basically. More professional than Indian government basically. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about this all points basically.